Hey guys, it's Albrecht here with the A-Team at Remax First. I wanted to talk today about something that we never talk about, not just on social media, but in listing presentations or buyer consultations. We just don't talk about it, and it's contracts. Maybe we don't talk about it because it sounds boring, and it probably is a bit boring, but it's super important. It's almost the fundamental to our roles is to help people create contracts that are like not voidable and are enforceable and that will be completed according to people's expectations. And so we've been operating in the Calgary area for 5 years, and we had 7-8 years experience before that in Fort McMurray, and it was fine. But our market in Fort McMurray operated more, I think, on trust and people knowing each other, the realtors and even I think the lawyers, and it was definitely not as litigious. And the Calgary market is, it's a big city, and so we can't rely on that. And so anyway, we've been at Remax First for 5 years. It's the biggest real estate brokerage, or one of the very biggest in the world, and the last couple of years has had higher sales than everywhere else. And what makes it good? Well, there's a lot, I won't get into it, but one of the things that we do is we meet on a weekly basis as a brokerage, and the brokerage owners and managers, we basically learn from each other through them. So whenever we ask questions to our management team, which occurs, like Brianna and I are known to ask a lot of questions because we like to be correct in our advice that we give to clients. But basically, whenever anyone asks a question to the brokerage leadership, they consider talking about that in the weekly meeting. And so there's lots of little learnings. So let's get into them real quick. Little things that might seem little but are not little. So when we're offering and counter offering, if I write an offer that ends at 11 o'clock and the sellers agree the next morning to the contract, we need to write up a new contract, like a fresh new contract. If we just adjust the dates and initial, we actually don't have a contract. And so later, heaven forbid, 2 months later when it's possession day, the sellers no longer want to sell the house, maybe the market's gone up, they might be able to get out of that contract if we didn't do it properly in the first place. So that's one. What about waivers? Same thing. So if we miss a date for a waiver, it's like 9 o'clock and it's actually 9:05 and we send the waiver through, do we have a contract? No. We don't have a contract. So in a situation like that, we want to make sure that we sign our waivers long time before that deadline, because DocuSign sometimes goes down. And if there is a missed waiver, can we backdate the waiver? No, we need to do a new contract. And so I think there's a message here, which is that when you're thinking about who to hire, and I would think this way, if I'm buying a house in BC, for example, or if I have a client who's moving to Ontario, then I want to find a realtor who's going to be really detailed with that stuff. And it's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it does matter. If we change the contract, let's say we want to make a change to the price because of a home inspection identifies something of value that needs to be fixed. We can change the price, but we need to use an amendment, not an addenda. And then one last example, we can think of holdbacks. If we have a cleaning term in a contract, that's all great, well and good, and that might be the intention. But if we don't have a holdback term that's properly worded that says, if it's not clean, the buyer gets to hold back $2,000, the buyer client might wind up in a very difficult situation if the seller doesn't clean the house, because their lawyer could advise them. But we have to close at noon on possession day, otherwise we're in breach of contract. We can't necessarily, can't negotiate a holdback through the lawyers at that point. So some little, some big, all a little bit boring, but very, very important stuff. And that is just I wanted to give you a little sneak peek into some of the sort of the fundamental work that we do, because we always talk about, you see the listings and we talk, another home inspection, happy client, and but it matters. Hopefully this helps when you're deciding who you want to hire for your real estate, and if you'd like to interview us, we'd love to be a part of that process. Thank you very much, and have a great day.